say. It's not Monday anymore, and we're so grateful for that. But boy, David, the weather kind of felt like yesterday morning. It was a little slippery at times, a little slushy perhaps a little bit later on in the morning, but I think much like yesterday, we're kind of pushing the bulk of the snow out of here.
Yeah, it's that time of year where, you get a little bit of snow here and there. It's kind of slushy. Everyone's getting a little bit worn down by the winter blues. But thankfully, we do have some milder days coming up ahead. We're not looking at a whole lot of snow this morning. I've certainly noticed on some of our road cams that out there in the Warren County, it's been a little extra slick. So like you did yesterday, just give yourself a few extra minutes before you head on out. By the afternoon, not looking at much left over. Still a lot of clouds, a lot of gray in place. Tonight, temperatures could actually start creeping up, and tomorrow will actually be into the middle 40s. Maybe a little bit of rain later in the day before that changes over to some snow as the cold front moves on in. So this time of year is just, it drives me crazy with the weather forecast, because every day it's just like some huge shift in the weather.
And you could get,
that's what we love this time of year, right?
Even between today and tomorrow, it's a 10-degree difference.
Yes, yeah. Today, middle 30s. Tomorrow, middle 40s. We'll have a good gusty wind, and we'll have a lot of we'll have a decent amount of snow melt. Now, the sun's not going to really be out tomorrow. Maybe a little bit during the morning hours, but with temperatures in the 40s, that's obviously going to lead to some of that melting. I don't see flooding as an issue. I just see big, nasty, sloppy puddles out there. That's going to be the worst part of it.
Yeah. Slipping and falling into one of those could be a major issue. That would be painful potentially, and just plain old gross. Hey, we are continuing a day-long effort here at Erie News Now to get answers to all of your COVID-19 vaccination questions. Here right now, you see 0 health experts on screen, but we have enlisted a slew of medical professionals from around the area to come in throughout the course of the day to get answers to all your COVID-19 vaccination questions. And we know you've got a lot of them, whether, the availability of the shots, your eligibility for them, who's next in line, the side effects, all of those things. So we're working hard all day long to get expert answers to all of your COVID-19 vaccination questions. We did some of that this morning with a pharmacist from Lecom and our Molly Samora. And I know, guys, I mean, we're all in this together. We talked about it many times before, but I think we all are in this together with questions about the vaccine.
Yeah, and if any of you folks have those questions, you can email them into Erie News Now, news@erienewsnow.com, or you can send them in on our Facebook page, our Twitter, any of those websites. And actually from 4 to 7 is when you have the chance to call our news station. It's just our news station number, and then you select 0 at the end, and that's from 4 to 7 when you can actually call and speak to the experts yourself.
Yeah, lots of, from all the hospitals coming in, everybody's represented. So if you have a question that you haven't been able to get an answer to connected to the vaccination process, I'm going to bet that today is your day.
It's your day.
Yeah. And moving forward, David, throughout the rest of this week, you mentioned that kind of continuing with the countdown towards spring, not days, but with the warmer temperatures.
Yeah, 25 days until spring, but at least we got some warmer days. I mean, the other day when we got to 34 degrees, I went outside in a t-shirt just to kind of embrace the fact that it's above freezing and it's sunny out. So we can embrace more of these warmer days ahead.
Yesterday, the wind made it feel like it wasn't so, today.
Well, yeah, that's always the problem. Even though you got a wind that's actually helping to warm the temperature up, the wind chill can still come down just because it's a pretty good gusty wind, and the wind is really moving the ice around. It's actually pretty cool watching it shift out there in Lake Erie. It's being pushed more so towards Canada, because if you think about how we're located on the southern end of Lake Erie, you got a southerly wind, so that pushes everything farther to the north. And I actually posted
that video you showed in Chicago.
That was a time lapse, but how much time did that cover, kind of showing that ice cracking and then separating away from the shoreline?
I mean, that was during the day. I mean, it must have been during the morning hours, and then throughout the course of the daylight hours, because it only goes dark at the very end. So, that wasn't a very large span of time for the ice to break and then shift away. That's the reason why you never want to go out on these large chunks of ice. You think they're just going to stay intact, and before you know it, it breaks away, and then you're drifting off off in the water, and you certainly don't want to do that. You don't want to have somebody come and rescue you in a situation like that.
Yeah, that's what we had the other day over on off the Lake Erie shoreline in Cleveland. So yeah, definitely.
But I think what's going to happen is with more of a south wind, it's going to keep the ice more towards Canada. And then eventually it could get shifted back our way, maybe by Wednesday night, and then into Thursday as our winds shift around from the west. So, yeah, it's like a giant puzzle out there on Lake Erie, but you don't want to try to cram the pieces into a really small spot because that doesn't work too well. So that's something we'll be monitoring. We'll see how the ice builds up.
I know you'll be keeping us on track towards spring here over the next 25 days, David. We appreciate it.
25 we're already at now. Wow.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, it's finally below the actual air temperature.
Yes.
That's where you were going for, Mark. I know.
Exactly.
A positive note. We'll end it.
Again, a reminder, folks, if you've got those COVID-19 vaccination questions, you can get them to us on Facebook, email. You can call them in from 4 to 7 o'clock tonight. Twitter, all of our social media channels are open for your questions. And we'll put those questions to the experts and get you the answers that you need in terms of COVID-19.
Yeah, write everything down. I also got to write down when my next hit is during the news, so I don't sleep through
We
that.
almost need a bell for David just to ring each time. David, you're up.
I know. It's like I'm too sleepy in the morning. Someone's gonna wake me up.
All right, guys, we will see you tomorrow. And again, hopefully you get us your questions on the vaccination process at some point today. We'll get the answers to you.